Okay, ready to go? Okay, let's get started. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the regular meeting of the City Council of Universal City, Texas. It is Tuesday, January 4th, 2022. I'll call this meeting to order now at 6:30. For quorum check, please.
Mayor Williams.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Neville.
Here.
Councilmember Byrd.
Here.
Councilmember Maxwell.
Here.
Councilmember Najarian.
Here.
Councilmember Shelby.
Here.
Councilmember Bowling. Here.
Quorum is present. We shall proceed. I will lead us in the invocation this evening and the pledges, so would you all please. Heavenly Father, we come together tonight for the first time in 2022, and what a challenging year it's expected to be. And looking back just a bit before going forward, in spite of the pandemic, our city did quite well this last year. We thank you for giving staff and council the guidance we've needed to help us help our businesses and citizens cope with the oddities of the year, including the bitter cold spell last February. Despite the virus, we have much to be thankful for and look forward to. We can be thankful for the fine staff who persevered throughout tough times to prepare a remarkable budget we can all be proud of to help execute this year. We can be thankful for the council who worked on and polished that budget recommendation with full knowledge that we had our citizens' best interests in mind. We can be thankful for the many volunteers who serve selflessly on boards, commissions, and committees to help us meet the needs of our community. I am personally thankful every day for this council and outstanding staff who are totally committed to our citizens 24/7. And during these coming months, as we continue to battle with COVID implications, we ask that you give us and our citizens the kindness, thoughtfulness, and fairness we all deserve as we move forward in 2022. And as always, Lord, we ask that you watch over our military men and women and protect them and their families as they serve around the globe to protect our freedom in these troubled times. Our cup is overflowing with love and the commitment we make 2022 fun and eventful. And we thank you for that blessing. We ask this in your holy name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Good, thank you all for attending this evening. We got a little respite in the freezing cold that we had the last couple of days, and it's going to warm up, and then I guess by Thursday night or Friday or whatever, towards the end of the week, we're going to get cold again for a couple of days. But okay. First item we have this evening is words of proclamations, introductions of guests. The only thing I would like to bring up at this moment is that we have a very special friend of Universal City who's been very loyal to us for many, many years. She just had her 96th birthday. If you know Ina Blake, I think you know her very, very well. And Homes for the Homeless, her husband Gordon Blake, they were very instrumental in establishing that whole activity for many, many years. And we, as you know, our dog park is named after Ina. So 96 years young, I said, right? Yeah, she's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful lady. So move on to our next item, which is the consent agenda. It's under tab A. All matters listed under this item are considered to be routine by council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion, but if discussion is desired on a particular item, it will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. And there are two items on that agenda. Consider the City Council meeting minutes of Tuesday, November 16th and Tuesday, December 7th, regular meetings, and to consider Ordinance 644, which is establishing and codifying an ad valorem tax freeze for residential homestead property owners of this city, Universal City. And that is our second reading on that particular item. So, if anyone
move to approve.
If not, I have a motion. Who's that motion from? Mr. Najarian. Okay. Second by Councilmember Goolsby. I may have to, get the arms raised to be able to get to. Okay, so, all right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All right, call for that vote, please.
Councilmember Najarian.
Aye.
Councilmember Goolsby.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Neville.
Aye.
Councilmember Maxwell.
Aye.
Councilmember Shelby.
Aye.
Councilmember Bowling. Aye.
That motion passes. Move on then to our next item, which is citizens to be heard. And this is the time to provide citizens to address council on issues of concerns, and it must be informative only. No discussion or action will be taken. And we ask you to limit your comments to a couple of minutes, 3 minutes. So I'm a little bit lenient on that, but I do ask you if you try to keep those comments as brief as you possibly can. We have 2 individuals that have signed up this evening, and the first individual signed up is Miss Mary Jackson. Mary, would you come out and give us your name and address for the record, please, ma'am?
Yes.
Just join us right here. Welcome.
Hi. Good afternoon. Hello, Mayor. Hello, Councilman, City Attorney, and City Manager. My name is Mary Jackson. I live at 615 Armorside Boulevard here in Universal City, Texas. I've been a resident since November of 2016. And disabled vet, just retired, love it. Okay. So my concern is to the City of Universal City, Texas. I want to take this opportunity to address the concern of why should I pay the cost for waste management to pick up my recycled items when I put out 40 pounds of cardboard on 27 October, the day before my scheduled pickup. It was not picked up. I personally called Waste Management on November 2nd and reported the problem. The representative taking my number so she could call me to tell me when they would come by and pick it up. Nothing. I went out of town for Thanksgiving, only to find out that the 40 pounds of cardboard was still sitting in my alleyway, the same way I left it, October 27th. Okay? I called UC Water Company on November 30th, and the lady who I spoke with, she taken down my name and address. She then sent an email to Waste Management, and finally, they picked it up on 4 December, okay? Which was my normal pickup date. When I went to go pay my bill, I inquired about the cost, and I was told it was somewhere around $38 to $42, something like that. And the lady who I spoke with, she said, well, yes, we have to charge you for it because they do provide a service. But yet, I went a whole month without the service. So my question would be, if Waste Management can't uphold their contract, why are we as citizens of UC having to pay for a service? Okay, I have a big problem with that. My recommendation is to change the service provider or delete that cost from the customer's bill when you gotta go a whole month without having it picked up. I appreciate y'all listening to my concern, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Ms. Jackson. Appreciate your comments. Definitely. Okay, next item, next individual signed up this evening is Mr. Bernie Rubel.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council, and Happy New Year. You probably don't know this lady very well, but the people in our side of the town know her very well. She's a lady that goes to neighbors who she'd never met and helps them cut their grass because they knew they were having trouble with it. Picks up trash around the neighborhood. I didn't know she was speaking tonight, but very good to see you. Mr. Mayor and council members, as you know, I've got great concerns about transparency and financial transparency. And basically, there have been great improvements. For example, the city has provided 11 years of the past audit for me, and I appreciate that, and I'll make it available to any person who wants to run for office in the city of Universal City, and hopefully we'll get the remaining 9 years. However, that's just a little bit of the tip of the iceberg because essentially the audit only goes so far in the details of where the money is being spent. And I know the mayor and council have the position that every penny is deserved money. However, there's always room for cutting and improving things. One of the issues that I'd like to have the city council address is essentially the golf course. Basically, we've been in a budget deficit for many, many years in the golf course. And some of the members of council have actually been on council for over a decade, and this flow of cash continues, okay? I'm on record of supporting the golf course, sending information to council members showing that it could be profitable if expenses were controlled. So basically, I attended a few golf course meetings, great people, and I see that they're on the agenda tonight because they have had no mission. They had nothing to do with economics of the golf course and so forth. In attending the golf course meetings, I asked the question, essentially, who is really in charge of golf course operations? Okay, and basically, it's hard to figure out. As a citizen, who's in charge of planning and programming for the golf course? Why are we in a $1.8 million budget deficit, at least as of the audits that I have? And why has this council, over the 10 years that many of you have been in office, permitted this continued leakage? When will the sales taxes be turned off for supporting golf course operations? It's a burden to the citizens, okay? And basically, again, I'm on record.
Continue, go ahead.
I'm on record supporting the golf course, but there has to be a business plan for enterprise operations in the city, particularly enterprise operations that have been consistently at negative deficits. I ask the council for their indulgence to come up with a plan to get us out of debt and to turn off essentially the taxes for the sales tax, sales tax. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rubel. That was not intentional to have it ring that loud, honestly. That was not
It's my first time using
This
this.
is the first time we've been using this new system here, so it was nothing against you, Mr. Rubel.
No.
Okay? Just want to make sure you know. Okay, those are the only individuals that signed up this evening. Would anyone else like to address council that did not have a chance to fill out the form? Yes, ma'am, please come on up. Give us your name and address for the record, too, please.
Sure. My name is Carol Butler. I live at 501 Kimberly Drive. I just have a couple of questions. I'm sure that you all thought you were going to get a lot of pushback on the garbage situation because it does affect so many different people here. And you know, I got a voicemail and I got 2 texts from CPS that told me my bill was going to go up. All of our bills, I'm sure, are going to go up. And I thought, why didn't, or is there a way for you all to do that, to have somebody have it more that you give a text or call with people? It has to be one of those that just goes to everybody, because I think that this thing with the garbage thing has, like I say, it has affected so many people. And when I see people, at least I can still walk, but there's a lot of people that it's really going to affect them deeply, and then they don't have the money. And if I hear the word mandate one more time, like to make something disappear, mine disappears right now. But I got to figure that out with what y'all have decided. And I think y'all are doing a great job. That's my first thing too. But I was just wondering, when things happen, and I could see the apathy here at the beginning when I first started coming, people just don't know what's going on. So I was just wondering if there is a way to tell people what's going on in a, what do you call it, a blanket text or something like that. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Appreciate your comments. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
My name is Richard Edwards, 209 Trudy Lane. I hadn't planned to speak tonight. I thought I'd just be quiet, but I noticed we've got these new monitors with timers and all this stuff going on. We're getting more and more like San Antonio every day, and I don't see that as a good thing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Okay. All right. Thank you very much for all of your comments and concerns. Appreciate that very much. So, move on to our next item, which is item number 8. That's our business. The first one is tab number B, to consider Resolution 929. It's a resolution by the City Council of the University City, Texas, for approval of the Guadalupe Appraisal District Facility Parking Lot Expansion Resolution, granting authorization to execute Resolution 929 by the Mayor and setting an effective date. As you know now, we do have part of our city is now in Guadalupe County. vast majority is still in Byrd. We do have a little bit across the creek that's in Guadalupe County. Mr. Turner?
Thank you, Mayor. You may say, didn't we already consider this? And the answer is yes. We are one of the few cities who did actually get our resolution passed and get it back to Guadalupe in time, but they have to have so many in order to move forward. So they are asking us to reconsider it again in hopes that some of our other fellow cities will consider it and get it back in time as well. So this is actually your second consideration of this.
Something we've already done. Yes, Dick?
Since they use their own money, I motion that we approve.
Okay.
Second.
Motion made by Pro Tem Neville, second by Councilmember Shelby. Any other discussion, anyone? All right, call the vote, please, Chris.
Mayor Pro Tem Neville?
Aye.
Councilmember Shelby?
Aye.
Councilmember Goolsby?
Aye.
Councilmember Maxwell?
Aye.
Councilmember Najarian?
Aye.
Councilmember Boley?
Aye.
That motion passes. Let's move on then to tab number C. Consider approval of the pay estimate number 2 invoice for the West Byrd Drainage Project Phase 2.
Thank you. Yes, West Byrd Phase 2, we really more know it as Northview Parkview Drainage Project Phase 14. So this is pay estimate number 2 in the amount of $24,303.87. And remember that we need this approved in order to get our reimbursement from the CBDG funds at Bexar County.
Correct. Let me, those of you that are relatively new to this process, the community development block grants, we go for those, ask for those through the county, and for the last 15, 16 years, they have been phenomenal in supporting our needs for this drainage project, and this is just the next, another phase of it. But it's in the millions of dollars that the county has approved of community development block grants, CDBG, as you'll hear it. That is, it's been wonderful for us. It's allowed us to do those projects that we would have had really a tough time coming up with the funding to support those projects without the county's support. And we apply for those, and this is just a process that we have to go ahead and approve that, and then that makes it happen. Okay. Any comments? I do need a motion on this.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Goolsby, second by Councilmember Najarian. Yes, any discussion? Yes.
Yeah, thank you. I saw that they were looking for additional days. Do they have they put together the schedule to help make sure that they're not further behind? I mean,
Yeah, the Public Works Director, Randy, is monitoring their days.
Okay.
They keep a running tab.
Okay, yeah, because we're constantly behind on everything we've got. Right.
Everybody is behind on all projects right now,
Okay.
whether due to weather or to supply chain.
Yeah. Okay. Just thank you.
If you ever see Commissioner Tommy Calvert, who is the commissioner in our area here, our requests go through them, Commissioner's Court, but Councilman Calvert is the one that actually uses his time to appropriate his funding that he wants to approve in his area. So if you see Commissioner Calvert, thank him, because it's been really supportive for us for many, many years. Okay, any other discussion? All right, now call for the vote, please. Chris?
Councilmember Goolsby?
Aye.
Councilmember Najarian?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Neville?
Aye.
Councilmember Maxwell?
Aye.
Councilmember Shelby?
Aye.
Councilmember Boley?
Aye.
Okay, let's move on to tab number D. Consider the use of $1,884,420 of the APRA funds for the purchase of 9 generators to the local government purchasing cooperative by Board and its vendor, Holt Power Systems. I guess the only question I would ask anybody is, do you know what APRA funds are? It's the COVID relief funds, and that's exactly what it is. So I'll let Ms. Turner explain.
Yeah, the actual name is the American
Rescue.
Recovery Program
Recovery.
Act that was passed by our federal legislation. So we received our first tranche last year. In September, staff presented the APRA budget to the City Council. It was approved. If you remember, we left $900,000 in our APRA budget undesignated because we were fearful of cost overruns. And on this particular one, which is our biggest project that we're doing on the ARPA, the cost came in between the time when we first got our estimates to when we went back to actually get the purchase orders and everything. It went up approximately $400,000. So thankfully, we left a good portion of that undesignated. So this is for the 9 generators at various locations through the city. If you remember, we've been working on a generator project probably going on about 8 or 9 years already. We are well ahead of most of our counterparts in terms of getting our critical infrastructure, water, sewer, lift stations, buildings, emergency operation centers on generators. This project will put us in very good shape and will actually finish off all of the city facilities and our water tanks, so that in times of power outages, whether it be through freeze or through a heat wave, a brownout, blackout, whatever it happens to be, we can continue to provide services to our residents.
This is very interesting, and the pandemic has allowed some funding that really enables us to purchase some very, very needed equipment that we probably would not have been able to budget for because it just wasn't there. So, you know, you can see, look at the good side of the bad. Funding has been available that we're taking advantage of, and I will commend the staff. Have done a phenomenal job of figuring out where these funds will be allocated, and generators are critical. All of us that made it through the freeze and the snowmageddon, or whatever you wanted to call it, last year realized that was critical, especially for the much-needed services in public works, definitely. So, thank you. All right, so I'll take a motion, then we'll open for discussion.
Move for approval.
Second. Councilmember Shelby, second by Councilmember Rowley. Now we'll open for discussion. And I think Beverly first, and then we'll go to Paul. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Cibolo Crossing and Silver Terrace, why the one there?
So Cibolo Crossing has a lift station for their sewer. So when power goes out, lift stations don't work, you know, everything runs downhill. Well, there it actually runs uphill. So we need the lift station to push their waste out of that neighborhood. And then the other one was for
Silver Terrace.
So that was Silver Terrace. The other lift station is at Cibolo Crossing. That is the subdivision area that's going in down at the end of Kitty Hawk. It is sloped like this, and their sewer also needs to run back this way to get to where it needs to go. So when it is installed, we will put a generator on that to make sure that they always have sewer service.
Interesting. Thank you.
Mr. Jerry.
Thank you. Kim, looking at the totals here, what we're using the funds for of the 1884,420. I'm just looking at this page 1 there. It shows, you can explain, it says that doesn't include these estimated sales tax of 155,465, and if applicable at 28,266. Are we coming up with those funds from somewhere else?
So we're tax exempt, we wouldn't have paid them.
Okay, I do want to make sure that.
That's just required to be on their contract.
Okay, I just want to make sure that that wasn't rolled into that 900,000 that we.
Right, that's why it says if applicable,
Okay.
but it's not applicable to us.
Thank you.
Okay, good. Mr. Shelby.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is cost installed, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
purchase and install.
Okay.
There may be a few other items. One of the things that we're trying to ensure is that, you know, when you put in a generator, obviously it's got electrical and it's got connections to the water system, and it has a lot of other diesel things of that nature. So separately, and we budgeted separately for it, and that's coming in on cost, is the fencing to go around it. So they'll all be protected with a security pass card, so we always know who's going in and out.
Okay, and then these 4 well sites, or 3 well sites, are these the last 3 remaining well sites that we don't have
These are the
generators?
last remaining well sites. Remember, our other well sites we've been doing over a time, and they've been included in the utility budget.
Okay, so in the event of another major power outage, we'll have water,
We will
what we did last time, but
Yes.
we'll be better protected as far as well.
Right, because last time during the snow, when everything froze up, we were able to keep water because our system is set up that if one goes out, we can backfeed from another. And this will still provide all of that, but it will really keep these particular wells going.
We'll keep the
So we
redundancy.
don't have to backfeed.
Okay, and then the last question I have, just because we're adding so many, what is the annual maintenance cost on these guys?
So we already have a maintenance cost for the other, I think, 8 that we have in place.
Sure.
So I don't know the actual cost to it, but it will be added in. And that's one of the reasons why we had to go with the Holt, because when you look at the ones that we have, they're all Holts. And we wanted to make sure that we had one vendor and one contract so we have better control. I don't know what that will be.
Do we know, well, I guess the question, let me ask it this way, is there a way, since we have so many from the same vendor, I mean, is it an exponential growth on the maintenance, or are they gonna kind of cut us a deal because they're gonna do so many at once?
So you have to understand how the maintenance works. They don't come out and do the maintenance and testing on this. They come out once a quarter or maybe twice a year and ramp it up and do a testing on it.
Sure.
We actually test these generators every week.
Okay.
All of them get tested. But the testing that happens all of the time is done by our public works staff.
Right.
So the contract, yes, it will go up, but it's not the weekly maintenance and running an operation. It's at those times when we need them to bring in their truck. And normally when you have an engine on something like this, you start it off slow, so it ramps up, but periodically, to know that it's really going to work, you need the generator company to come in, hook it up, and start it at 80% right away. That's the testing they do. The rest of it we do ourselves.
Sure, no, and I'm familiar, I'm working with a data center that has a natural gas generator,
Okay.
so it runs every Friday behind my office.
And these are diesel.
Yes.
Diesel.
So, okay, so we're running them, and then they're gonna come out and do the load testing every once in a while, as
Yes.
part of that maintenance.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Neville?
No, he had questions about cash category.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
All right, any other comments by the council? All right, having heard none, let's call for the vote then, please.
Councilmember Shelby.
Aye.
Councilmember Bowling.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Neville.
Aye.
Councilmember Goolsby.
Aye.
Councilmember Maxwell.
Aye.
Councilmember Najarian.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thanks, Ken and staff, for putting that package together. It's a fantastic use of the funding that was available to us. Okay, move on to tab number E. Discuss and to consider ordinance 149-0-1-2022, an ordinance of the City of Universal City, Texas, amending ordinance 149-0-2019 for wastewater treatment services provided by San Antonio River Authority, Sarah, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict, amending the Universal City Code of Ordinances accordingly, and declaring an emergency in its enactment and setting an effective date of January 4th, 2022. So you want to explain that, Ms. Turner?
Yes, so as you know, when we go through our annual budgeting, the San Antonio River Authority and the Cibolo Creek Municipal Authority come to the City Council and they tell us what their rate is going to be for the city, and we implement that into our rate study and everything else. When the San Antonio River Authority came last time, they did tell us that they were going to increase their impact fee. Now, the impact fee is when a new home is built, they pay a one-time fee for connecting onto the sanitary sewer system that carries the waste out to the San Antonio River Authority treatment site. So we talked about it, we sent a whole bunch of ordinances up for you to approve in terms of the utilities, but it did not include this line item impact fee change. Now, from the staff perspective, we put it in our system right away, and we've been collecting it as we should have, but we didn't actually formally adopt that through this ordinance. So we are asking you for this evening to go and pass that and declare it an emergency so we can get it on the books right away.
So, everybody understand that? Okay.
Move
So,
for
I need a motion, and then
Second.
we'll have discussion.
Move
Motion
for
made by Councilmember Shelby. Do you have a second?
Second.
Councilmember Goolsby? Yes, Mr. Shelby.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, and I understand this, but I just want to clarify, this does not affect anybody who has a current connection to our system.
Does not affect anybody. It's only when new homes and new businesses come onto the system.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Any other comments, questions by the council? All right, we have a motion and a second, so let's call for the vote then, please.
Councilmember Shelby.
Aye.
Councilmember Goolsby.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Neville.
Aye.
Councilmember Maxwell.
Aye.
Councilmember Najarian.
Aye.
Councilmember Bowling.
Aye.
Okay, that motion passes unanimously, so we'll move on now to tab number F. Discuss and to consider ordinance 572-B-2022, an ordinance of the City Council of the Universal City to amend Chapter 1-3 Commissions, Board, Committees, and Authorities, Article, what is it, 14, right? That's Roman?
Yes.
14. Golf Course and Conference Committee and to amend the Universal City Code of Ordinances accordingly and setting an effective date. So, Ms. Turner, if you want to explain.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As you know, every year you appoint members to the Golf Course Conference Committee. So this board initially came into effect when the then City Council built and issued the bonds for the golf course, which was approximately 20-some years. It was in the year 2000. We started on it in 98 and finished it in 2000. So at that time, the City Council felt they did not have the wherewithal to run the operation, so they hired a third-party vendor to run the operations, run the food and beveraging and the marketing and everything else on it. So in order to provide some oversight, they put together the golf course committee, and their job was to kind of watch over the operations and to come up with some marketing ideas and fundraising ideas for the golf course. Well, moving forward many years, we don't have a third-party vendor. Some of you were probably here when we voted to release them from their contract, and then the city staff took over the operations, and we hired our own food and beverage director and our general manager of golf, and we used our own maintenance crews to care for the golf course on its daily operations. So when we did that, the function of the golf course and conference committee changed, because they didn't really have one to oversee, because now everybody's reporting to the city manager and directly to the city council. So they've been floundering just a little bit lately to try to figure out what to do. They've done a couple of fundraisers. They realize that's not really their bailiwick, because it takes a lot of time and energy to do those things. And so they have been going to meetings, and Katie and Sal have just been giving them the reports on what's happening at the golf course. But they, vote on the minutes and then they're done. So we've been talking with them as a group and finding out what can we do to provide more meaningful consideration by them for the staff and for the city as a whole when it comes to the golf course. So after having several meetings with them, at one time we did task them with going out on the golf course and driving it and or playing it for those who played, and then some got places, and to identify items that were maybe liability issues or something that needed improvement or a few trees that needed to be cut. And they did that, and they came back with a list for the golf director and the maintenance supervisor, and they gave them that list, and it was very helpful. Within about 6 to 9 months, they were able to go in and knock all of those things off, because they don't necessarily see it, because either they're stuck at their jobs or they see it so often it doesn't make an impression on them, which happens most of the time when we go into our own houses and such. So that was very helpful. So then we began with talking with them about maybe actually taking that and making it a formalized process for the golf course committee, and they thought that was a good idea. So what we are proposing this evening is to revise that board and commission, and to move their meetings from being monthly to being quarterly, and quarterly at a minimum. They can meet more often if necessary. But to take the golf course and the building and put it into parcels, and once a quarter before their meeting, about 2 weeks before their meeting, they'll either go out and examine that area or play that area or whatever it is individually, and then they'll make their lists, and then they'll come back together and see what they can identify for areas for improvement. And so they like that idea. So they're proposing to do that, and then we have a 7-member committee, but we almost always have 1 or 2 vacancies on it. So then now we're proposing to go to a 5-member committee. And then the other thing is that we promised them that we would still give them the monthly updates that Katie and Sal provide, and so but those would be emailed to them so they can have that when they are going out to do their quarterly reviews for which area they happen to be in. And then they had a chair, a vice chair, and a secretary, and they're proposing just to have a chair and a secretary, so they have 1 less member. This was a little wonky. They had 3-year terms. However, City Council had passed a resolution in 2017 making it so that all terms were 2 years and the max time served was 6 years. So this will bring them back into compliance with everyone, all the other boards and commissions. And then, that's it. I will add that I worked with Bob Barnhart, who is our current chair, to go over some of these things and get it sound and correct. He was able to meet with the individual board members, have sent it out to them for comment, and so they made a few comments and made the revisions, and they are satisfied with their new task and how they will operate in the future.
Yeah, I was on that initial golf committee when it was first established, and I remember briefing council very regularly about what was going on, what we were discovering that was happening. And so we were really effective at that time, but it had, the role, as Kim says, has dramatically changed over the years. We really had a prominent role in the early days of the function, but when the city took over the management, it didn't fall off the radar, but its purpose kind of dramatically changed. And I think this is a great fix to that situation. So, anyway, Mr. Maxwell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. From observation, we have a good, solid management team at the conference center at Golf Course. So I just want to reiterate and stress that this is an advisory committee in nature. They're not directive. That is the manager's responsibility.
Correct.
And that in turn answers the question from earlier today also.
Yes, sir.
That there is a management structure there, and the committee is only advisory committee, and making suggestions and things of that nature, and then it comes to the proper manager making that decision.
Much like the planning and zoning and all
much
the
like
other
that.
boards and commissions. Yes, sir.
You still have a very effective.
Yes.
It's very, very effective, but advisory, knowing
Exactly.
what, making suggestions of what participants may or may not observe are able to, I guess, communicate to management issues that may be out there.
Yes.
Okay, let me have a motion and then we can continue the discussion.
Second.
Motion made by Councilmember Maxwell, second by Councilmember Shelby. Any further discussion, anyone? I'll bring it up. I think this is a great way to give them some substance again, and I think that they'll be very efficient in helping the team at the golf course and staff
Yes, sir.
on issues that are related to the course. Okay, no other questions, then I'll call for the vote, Chris.
Councilmember Maxwell.
Aye.
Councilmember Shelby.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Neville.
Aye.
Councilmember Goolsby.
Aye.
Councilmember Najarian.
Aye.
Councilmember Foley.
Motion passes, we'll pass on. That concludes our business for this evening, so now I'll turn it over to the city manager for her comments. Kim?
Thank you. I hope this one gets a round of applause, but we were actually able to meet with the TxDOT engineer today regarding the malfunction, dysfunction, disruption at APRA Road in 1604. So, yeah, I really, gosh, it's just taking them forever. So, yes, we did meet with them. We have talked about the striping, and there was actually supposed to be another lane coming into Universal City, and they just totally messed it up. So, but they are coming back, and they're going to power wash off all of the striping that we have down there today, move that darn bicycle lane that is making the lane change so odd, and move it to the outside, and then get the lanes a little straighter. So that is very good news. Now, the bad news is they did not give us a timeline on that, because they're rubbing their heads trying to think how they're going to get that permanent paint off without ripping up all the new asphalt they put down. My recommendation is just take out the asphalt and start over, but you know, they didn't like that. I'm assuming that's what they're going to have to do. The last area that we had them look at was if you're coming off of Meadowland onto Loop 1604, there was a wall that they had put with a rail on it that went over the water channel there, and it was creating quite a hazard there. So they have cut that wall back, and they're monitoring it. It is much easier to get out. Once they know that they have it the way that it's supposed to be, they'll put the little handrail back on it, and that part will be done too. So those are the two major hazardous hurdles that we've had to come with. And so, again, reminding everybody that as soon as this little stuff is cleaned up, they're gone, and that means the I-35 project is going to start, and we will have 6 years of construction on I-35 from downtown all the way past the city of Schertz. It's a long, long way.
Almost all the way to 1103.
Yeah.
Yes, that is correct. The second thing I would like to announce is that Miss Susan Ennis, who is our librarian and has just celebrated her 5th year with the city, she has very good news, and that is she is finally going to get to be a grandmother. And so she has decided to submit her retirement so that she can be a full-time grandmother with her daughter. And so her last day with the city will be on February 28th. And so we'll start doing the search for her replacement. And then Assistant Chief Gabbard has already retired. We have the boards and the review committees. And so Lieutenant Stephen Mahalski, who's been with the city almost 20 years, he was the final candidate, and so he will be the Assistant Chief of Police starting here in the next couple weeks. And so with the vacancy on his position, we have our sergeants who are now testing and going through board promotions to move up. One of them will move up to be a lieutenant. That's everything I have tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Great choice. Great choice. Okay, this evening, let's start with Councilmember Byrd.
Oh, fantastic. Thanks, sir. So I just have two things. One, could everybody please turn off their ringers in council meetings? I know, just playing. And then two, I think this is the first time Beverly saw the flag in a long time when we had the allegiance, because it wasn't getting blocked in front of her. Thank you, that's all I have to share. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Shelby.
All that.
I don't want to. No, I don't think I have anything to say. Thank you very much.
Okay. Mr. Maxwell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ms. Turner, just want to reiterate here, comment from Ms. Jackson on the recycling pickup. Was City Hall contacted by Ms. Jackson with that?
I wasn't in particular, but she did indicate she spoke to somebody in utilities, so I'll go back and speak with them tomorrow.
I'm kind of concerned about going that length of time without
Yeah, I
a
am
pickup,
too.
especially when we have twice a week pickup.
Yes,
Not
well,
twice a
she's
week, I'm
talking
weekly.
recycling, so it'd be weekly.
Yeah, weekly.
But yeah, I agree, it should not have occurred, but I will
And then
check in that tomorrow and
With
then
the
get back with you.
additional, additional charge on that. And addressing Mr. Edwards, I think you need to get together with the other folks with the neighborhood, because one set of the neighborhood wants more transparency and more modernization so that we can see what's happening. And in order to do that, we have to upgrade. And it's all in the budget, and we do need to upgrade because we were in the 19th century just a few months ago. I'm very proud of what we've accomplished here in the last few years, and I actually take it as a compliment whenever you compare us to San Antonio. That means we're vastly improving as far as equipment goes. I won't go with the political portion of San Antonio and ours. I think ours, we have good
Safety and security.
So, with that being said, that's all I have.
Thank you, John. Paul?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't have anything tonight, but thank you very much.
Okay. Beverly?
I gotta say, I'm really, really, really sorry to see Susan go. She's done a terrific job.
She has, yes.
The Gather, that was so cool. That is going to be a real highlight in the city. Very impressive. I love the opening. And I want to say that it was named the Gather before COVID ever happened. And now everybody is gathering together because COVID's almost over. Well, they had that name a long time ago. And it's going to be a really, really nice place. It is a really nice place. Okay, that's all.
Excellent. Mr. Neville?
Yes, thank you. You know, at the last meeting, brought up about businesses leaving the city and what can we do about it. You can't do anything about a business that is bought out, like Superdoors. And the new owners decide that they want to consolidate their businesses, so they close this one. There's nothing we can do about a new owner that closes the business. There's no incentive we can make to have them do that. The fun was that. Also, it always strikes me about winter averaging of our water bills, because it's assumed that all the water that we use in the winter goes down the sewer. And we live in a climate that needs water for the grass to grow, for outside plants to grow, etc. So I know that it's a fight, losing battle with the people that give us the water. But in this part of the country, we are at a loss because my wife says to me, I want all those flowers watered. Well, if I want to stay in the house, I have to go outside. I mean, that's the way it works. And I don't want to lose her. We've been married almost 68 years. So, we're 69 years, by the way, next July. So I just want to bring that up. I don't know what we can do about it, but I think it's something that should be looked into. As to why we use this winter averaging.
What else you gonna do?
I can answer that, Mr. Neville. Can I answer that? So, one, it's a nationwide standard, but typically, maybe not at your house, at most houses, people do not water their plants or their lawn, and you're in as much in the winter months. And so we take, even though you're watering now, you're probably using a lot more water in the summer months. So when we're figuring out the sewer averaging to keep the cost of it as low as we can for each individual household, we do their averaging in the winter months when we know that they're less likely to wash their car, less likely to fill up swimming pools, less likely to irrigate or sprinkle their lawn or water their plants. That's why we do it. And there's less transo-evaporation, some scientific word of that nature, that occurs, and so the plants and the grass don't need as much water. Except,
I understand that that's the rationale,
yes,
but it is not in fact what happens in the winter down here. No,
You don't want to lose much money.
it really isn't.
we'll run you a report to let you know how much water you use in the summer months and how much you use in the winter months.
I don't control the
I'm
meter.
confident you'll see you use less.
They control my meter, so they have to let us know how much water I'm using and when.
Yeah, we can run a report on every meter.
Or,
in the city.
or they could talk to my wife. Okay?
I'll mail it to your wife, her name on the envelope.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes.
That's just fair.
Okay. Before my brief remarks, Kristen wanted to make a couple comments.
Yeah. Mr. Rubal, I just wanted to apologize to you for the timer going off. It's a free app that I downloaded in hopes of making the timer more transparent because the yellow and orange bar was kind of confusing people last time. But what I did not know is that when the app shuts and opens back up, there's a setting that I can turn off the alarm to beep. And I had done that before I came in here, but when I closed the app, it reset the settings. So I apologize for going off on you.
I lose my train of thought often, so don't worry about that.
That was it.
That's why we're read to. The intention certainly wasn't to cut you off. Okay. The timing, sometimes the timer is important, especially when we have a large agenda. So, but I try to be as lenient as I can on that and allow more than just that 3-minute time. So even if it goes up to 3 minutes, if I say something to you that we need to finish it up, fine. Sometimes I'll let you carry on, and I think that's exactly appropriate for the types of discussions that we're having. So no bad meaning intended at all. Okay. Just a couple of quick things. I think, Council, you got this from the Byrd Appraisal, Guadalupe Appraisal District. Just for the record, I'll read the recent election of the members of the Guadalupe Appraisal Board, District Board of Directors. Ben Amador, Darren Dunn, Darrell John, who runs Blue Bonnet Palace, and was a councilman in church at the time. Jim Levins and Letitia Sever are the members of the Guadalupe County District Board of Directors. So, and I mentioned Anya Blake, lovely lady, so if you see her, just give her a happy birthday for her 96 years of being young and devotion to her city. She really has been a phenomenal person in supporting our animal shelter, the homes for the homeless. They had all kinds of activities, and she was the one behind it, the power behind it. Terrific lady.
She's on Facebook.
Yes.
If they want to shoot her a message.
The only other thing is this next semester, I have one of our council members in my class Savannah Nigerian will be in my 8 o'clock class next semester, so that will not be a conflict of interest nor a violation of
If it helps, she's
open
looking
meetings,
forward
right?
to it.
So, it's great. Okay, anyway, again, thank you everyone for coming this evening, really, really appreciate it. And it is now 7:21 and this meeting is adjourned.